Hello and welcome to the Holly Meredith Show. How kind of you to grace my presence with your presence. Today I have so many things to tell you, as I always do. And remember, on this show there is no political correctness and there never will be. And you will actually hear the truth instead of the garbage that is fed you by our mainstream bought and paid for government-controlled media. First of all, I want to talk about the 2014 elections, which are coming up very, very quickly. These elections are wave elections. These elections are so important that every single American listening to me now, and anybody you know or will even come across in the near future, needs to get their butt out of bed on election day and go and vote. And for God's sake, do not re-elect the incumbent in your area. We are in this god-awful mess because you keep sending back the very same freaks who made this mess. If you have people in office for 30 years, 35 years, 42 years, do you really believe they're going to change what they do? The answer is no, they're not. They're not doing what's best for the country. They're doing what's best for their pocketbook. They're doing what will get them re-elected, as Arlen Specter said before he finally croaked. That is what they will do. You need people who are not already bought and paid for, although if they're there a good 6 to 7 to 8 years, they will be. But you also need to get them in there right now before the country tilts irretrievably, unequivocally communist, which is where that dear leader is taking us. Day after day at an increasingly exponential rate, a frightening rate, like a runaway freight train. Pay attention to what the people running for office are saying. Actually take the time to read about the votes that the person who is in office right now has done. See how many of them voted for Obamacare, which is a country killer, and a health care killer, and a controlled by the IRS so that we'll know all of your bank accounts, how much money you have, and has the authority in Obamacare to just reach in and grab your money out anytime they damn well feel like it, with no warning to you and no recourse. It will either be a penalty, or it will be a fee, or it will be a tax, but it will be gone. And that's really all you need to care about. It will be gone. Obamacare and the Obama thing both have to be repealed, stamped, eradicated. They both must go, and they need to go immediately. And we finally have a chance to get rid of both of them. If we get 6 seats in the Senate, just six, if we get 6 seats, Harry Reid is gone. Harry Reid is the reason nothing is happening in Congress. Not Republican Congress. They have 363 bills that they have passed. The House of Representatives has passed 363 bills, all of which are languishing on Senator Reid's desk because he refuses to bring them up for a vote because he has that power. You can take that power away and let us start conducting ourselves as a country again. Not a free-for-all controlled by the Democrat communists who are turning our country into China, not Russia. Not Russia. China. If you want to be a country like China, then keep sending these awful people back to office. And believe me, they think you're stupid enough to do that. They really, truly believe you are stupid enough to believe that. And actually, I think you may be stupid enough to do that too. I hate to say that, but I actually do believe it sometimes. You have sent back to be the president of our country a uneligible, illegal, Muslim, Kenyan communist who never hid any of it. And yet, even after you knew what he was about, you re-elected him anyway when you had a clear-cut choice with another man whom, had he been elected, we would not be mired in this depression of misery in which we find ourselves today. And I dare you, double dare any of you, to go on the show's site and tell me where I'm wrong. Let me know where I'm amiss, because I know I'm not. I'm not amiss with anything that I say. I'm always right, mainly because I read it and look it up. and pay attention and verify and validate. And more importantly than anything else, I'm interested. It's your country, for Christ's sake. It's where you live and your children live and your parents live and your grandchildren will live. If you let it go, it's not coming back. Instead of worrying about the football games, just a bunch of thugs running around throwing a ball, instead of worrying about Kim Kardashian, I say this all the time because frankly I do not understand any attraction there whatsoever. These people have to be, without a doubt, the most vapid, uninteresting, plastic, really made in plastic people that I have ever heard of. There is nothing real about them. Everything they do is to get you to buy People magazine. If that is what motivates you when you get up in the morning, please, when you wake up and get out of bed, fall over and break your neck. Because we definitely don't want or need you in this country. We need people, any people. We need people who understand what is going on. We need people who understand that our federal government lies to us every single day. Outright, bold-faced lies. Because the federal government we now have is so corrupted, from the IRS, through the State Department, through the administration, through the Supreme Court. All of these people have flagrantly broken our laws and lie about it. Just lie like it never happened, even though you may be looking directly at the result. They will look you right in the eye and deny, 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 just like Jen Psaki and Marie Harf. Two complete twits at our State Department who come on air every day and try to tell you, the American public, all the lies that they have been fed. Just like the rice creature. Remember her? Remember the video about Benghazi? Remember all of that? And later in the show, I'm going to get to Benghazi and three incredible men who were there, who have written a book called 13 Hours that everybody needs to read. You need to read it. You need to buy it. You need to support these men. They put their lives on the line when they were in Benghazi, and they put their lives on the line by writing this book and actually having an interview with Bret Baier on Fox News, where all three of these men tell you what happened at Benghazi the night our men were left behind. This really happened. And oh, by the way, in case you heard that sound you just heard, that was the sound of the flush of the toilet of America being flushed down the toilet. I'm going to my break. Please come back afterwards so I can really let you know what's going on.
Hi there, I'm Annie from Addictions Clothing. Welcome to my store. I have been in business many years. I have an eclectic variety of clothing for all sizes, all ages. We are moderately priced and we're currently in our annual sale. We would hope that you come and find lots of goodies because you won't be able to beat our prices. They're unbelievable. And our hours are from 10 to 4, Tuesday through Friday, or Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 4. And this is Nicholas. He works here on Wednesdays. He has good times with the customers and he entertains the customers as well.
Hi, welcome to Muscle Beach, located at 501 East Atlantic Avenue, Delray Beach. We'd like you to join us for some of the finest, hand-picked, shipped daily Prince Edward Island mussels, along with the freshest seafood Delray has to offer.
Hi there, welcome back. Benghazi, Benghazi, Benghazi. Why are we still talking about Benghazi? As Nancy Pelosi says all the time when she can remember how to speak. Benghazi, we're talking about Benghazi because for the first time in the country's history, that we are aware of anyway, we left our men behind to die. We abandoned our men. We kept help from arriving. We, meaning, you know, whatever that is that inhabits our White House, we made that decision. So let me make this clear to you once and for all. Benghazi is a watershed in our history because we left our men behind to be killed, which they were. We have 3 brave men who were actually there that night who defied direct orders from their team leader and went to help our men, but it took them a half an hour of waiting and being told to stand down before they just said screw it and went anyway, because Tyrone was one of their team members and they were just not going to let these men die without getting help to them any way they could. Now, those of us who paid attention knew the day that it happened, what happened. But because you're wonderful, bought and paid for, controlled by the federal government media, never told the country what happened. Most of you never knew what happened. You just thought it was something blown up to embarrass the president. Well, he does just enough on his own to embarrass the country. You don't need to try to embarrass him. He is an embarrassment in every way. Benghazi, Benghazi, Benghazi. Now, why, you say to yourself, would we not have helped our men? Does that even make any sense? Well, yes, it does. It does, because as it's turning out, the reason that all of the people in the administration, who, by the way, watched all of this happen live from a drone that was right overhead that night, they saw everything in the Situation Room, and today still nobody knows where Obama was. He doesn't seem to have been in the Situation Room. He was probably practicing his golf drive. Bottom line is they knew what was happening in real time. The men on the ground in Benghazi were asking to be allowed to go and help. You cannot do that unless you get an order directly from only one person in the country. If you have an 8th grade civics course, if you were lucky enough to have gotten one of those, I don't think they do that anymore, then you know that the only person in the country who has the legal constitutional authority to tell our military out of the country what to do in an emergency situation at our consulate or embassy is the president. There is no one else. So can we stop all the nonsense about who's responsible for the stand-down order? Barack Hussein Obama is responsible for the stand-down order. It can't come from anybody else. No one else has the constitutional legal authority to do that. Just him. No matter what your idiots at the State Department try to tell you. Bottom line, as it's coming out now in this fantastic book that these 3 men have written, 13 hours, they give you an entire breakdown of what actually happened in Benghazi on that night, and how our men were killed and why, and how it came about. And the freaking video had nothing to do with it. Absolutely nothing. So there again, you catch them in at least 4 lies in a row, including that beast Clinton. 4 in a row. Lie, 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 lie. They knew perfectly well what happened. We, as a country, were supplying rebels in Syria with our weapons, which, by the way, they have today. Yes, we're actually shooting at our own guns, at our own tanks, at our own body armor, because we were supplying them with it illegally, without any constitutional authority, without any agreement from Congress. That's you. Illegally, we were giving a side that we had decided we wanted to back in Syria because we wanted to get rid of Bashar al-Assad, because Bashar al-Assad doesn't like the Muslim Brotherhood, of which our president is a member. Bashar al-Assad had to go, according to our administration. So we were supplying the rebels, who, as it turns out, are ISIS. We were supplying those people with our armaments. So it was an embarrassment for our administration to admit that we had all of these CIA operatives there, which is why they didn't want anybody to go to help these men, which is why Ambassador Stevens was grabbed and dragged through the streets for 6 hours and ended up in front of Al Sharia Hospital, Al Ansariya Shah Hospital, which by the way is the Muslim Brotherhood Hospital in Libya. Ended up there around 3 o'clock in the morning, and we got a call at our embassy saying his body was out there, go get it. He did not die of smoke inhalation in the embassy. And nobody thought he did anyway. There were pictures online that night from having him dragged through the streets. So now you know all of this information. Go buy the damn book. Everybody listening to me today should go buy 13 Hours. You should read it. You should listen to these three men. Why, oh why, oh why? They've been told not to talk about it for 2 years. It's eating them alive, that's why. You can see on the interview with Brett Baer how upsetting they find the whole thing, that they got there too late to help their friends. Too late. You can see they know, we know, anybody thinking knows, we could have saved our men. We could have gotten them out. We should have gotten them out. They even admit to you on the air that all you really needed to do was have a drone fly over and flash its lights, which it didn't do. It just took pictures. Even the arrival of these men, 5 or 6 or 7 of them armed, to break up what was going on in the embassy would have worked. Because your Libyan guard, who had given away all of the secrets of the embassy earlier, as soon as they heard the first shots, why, they took off. They took off and left our men. So it's not really something we've been known for doing, leaving our embassies and consulates and our people, leaving them protected by the country we're in when it's an absolute Muslim mess. But we did that night. We had the guard, the Libyan guard. Look how well they did a job. Bottom line is, our men were betrayed, the country was betrayed, and we all know by who. So can we put paid to that final nonsense of who was responsible for the stand-down order? Can we just get over that already? Now we know. So buy the book, make these men millionaires, because they're going to need as much help as they can get, because believe me, they have now become targets. Remember, people that don't agree with Obama, or Clinton for that matter, tend to have unfortunate accidents. They do. They tend to either break their neck on steps they've been walking for 40 years, or they're in an airplane where they're the only person that drowns out of 9 people, including the pilot, who don't drown. Or something happens to them where they're in an accident with a vehicle that bursts into flames, all of a sudden with no warning. Gee, you think there might have been some accelerant there? So these men have put themselves and their families at danger's door. Yes, that's where they put themselves. Hopefully because they've become so public. And if something happens to them now, there would be such a furor and such an outcry that nothing will happen to them, but they don't know that. When you listen to the interview, when you read the book, when you understand the culpability of our federal government, you will be shrinking in your boots, because we do not have a federal government that's on our side anymore. We have a federal government that's actively working to undermine the country and the Constitution. And you need to wake up and pay attention and do something about it. Again, I'm getting ready to go to a break. I'm getting dry. I have to take a moment to get something washed down my throat. I want you to go to the site for the site of the Holly Meredith Show. Google it and leave your comments if you agree with me or you don't agree with me. Tell me what you think, but more than that, buy the book, watch the interview with Brett Baer, and get educated.
Hello, good morning. I'm Ray Flo. This is my stories, Lake Worth Stories. We've been here, I guess, about 8 years. It's been great. Love Florida, love the storage business. I was meant for this business. Come with me. Let's go inside. And here's the fantastic staff. Mr. Josh runs it. Hello, Josh.
Hello.
And the quiet one. Look here, Marge. Look this way. Look this way. There you go. All right, so, well, there is a lot to run in storage. There is no silver bullet to make it successful. We've been very successful. So, you got to have a few things, you know. You got to have, of course, the price has got to be right. You got to have a nice staff, congenial people. We have that. Place has to be clean. We have that. And we have to treat people with dignity and very nicely, and we do that. So we've got, you know, the price, the staff. We've been here a long time. We got a good record. Above all, though, it really should be secure. And we have very little problems with that here. We're very secure. We've got 14 cameras there and some more here. So, yeah, we're set for the public. We're set up. Excellent.
Hello, welcome back. And now that I've educated you about Benghazi, and why it's important, what difference does it make? If you elect that thing, Hillary, if you elect, and she should be called Hillary, if you elect that thing, then you deserve the destruction of your country, because that is what you will get. We're already heading there. We're already in the toilet, as it were. That's why we had the flushing sound. We're already there. You have a limited amount of time to wise up and stop putting these miscreants into this powerful position where they have the opportunity, and they love getting it, of ruining everything that has turned this country into the most wonderful country ever seen, ever. I want to talk about immigration, illegal immigration, and the overwhelming flood of the illegal brats that have been dumped on this country. And let me be clear, they are illegal brats. They're not tiny little babies trundling across 1,000 miles with their poor little mothers all by themselves. Would that that were true. No. These are people that are being given a pathway through Mexico, being given a pathway through Mexico, paying coyotes huge amounts of money, who then give some of that money back to the Mexican government. Yes, they do. And then arriving on our border, whereby now, thanks to Obama, no one is allowed to stop them. No one at our border patrol is allowed to stop these things, whether they're 2 months old or 20 years old. And most of the illegal brats are not babies. They're not. They are between 12 and 19, and quite a few of them are between 20 and 40. They are cartel members. If you don't know what's going on our southern border, watch The Bridge, Wednesday nights on FX at 10 o'clock. That is what is going on our southern border at the moment. At least 100,000, at least, of these illegal brats have been allowed entry into our country. And now here comes the most foreboding part of that. Bad enough that our immigration laws are ignored and thwarted on purpose. Bad enough. Worse that these people coming into our country don't have vaccinations. We have no idea where they came from, what they're interested in. They could all be terrorists for all we know, because you're not allowed to ask them any questions. If they are entered into a school district in our country, the school district has been told by Holder and Arnie Duncan, that's the head of the Department of Education, they've been told you're not allowed to ask these people for their vaccination records. You're not allowed to ask them how old they are. Well, when the hell did that happen? As an American citizen, you try enrolling your child in a school anywhere. You try it. You better have with you a complete vaccination record, and you better have a copy of his birth certificate as an American citizen, or you're not going to be allowed to enroll your child. So why the hell do we have the Department of Justice, there's a laugh, the Department of Justice and the Department of Education heads telling all of our school districts all around the country, you cannot ask for vaccination records. So these people are being enrolled in your school with your children with no proof they've ever been vaccinated, which most of them have not. You're going to end up paying for that very soon. But at the moment, they have not. And these people cannot be asked their age. So if you're looking at a guy that's obviously shaving for at least 5 or 6 years, if he tells you he's 12, well, you just have to accept that he's 12. No proof of anything, and just put their ugly butts in your school district. This is called an invasion. We have been invaded. Our president, El Presidente, our president is responsible for this. Our president is telling these people all around the world, but specifically in Central and South America, that if you can get here, you can stay here. It is a law that he put into effect 2 years ago, all by himself without any congressional support, called DACA. Look it up. D-A-C-A. DACA. It means that anybody who was brought here before the age of 16 is allowed to apply and be allowed to get a work permit and not be deported. 700,000 people are now in DACA. Every single person who's come across the border in the last several months will be allowed to be in DACA. So although the lying fraud in our White House tells you that, no, they're going to be deported, 400,000 cases are now in front of immigration court. These people will be grandparents before they even get in front of the judge. This is all being done on purpose. First of all, he's guilty of treason. Undermining the immigration laws of the country, which is what he's doing, on his own, with no backup from Congress, which is, by the way, a dictator move. Undermining our laws is treason, with a capital T. Now the worst part comes. These people are here, but the Obama administration is refusing to tell anybody where they are. Even though taxpayer money is paying for them to be trundled around on buses or flown around on airplanes where they don't get checked, they just get put on the airplanes and get dumped in the middle of the night in unsuspecting little towns in Nebraska, in Oklahoma, in Massachusetts, in Wyoming, all over the country. Completely illegal. Another treasonous act. Gee, 2 in less than a minute. This is what is going on in your country at the moment. And you, and only you, are going to get the bill. Because once these people become DACA members, they are treated as provisional citizens. Meaning, immediately, they will get all the rights of a regular citizen. But you pay for all that. You will have, out of a trust fund that's being set up as we speak, you will be responsible for these people, paying for their vaccinations, making sure they have a place to live, having an interpreter provide the ability for them to understand what's going on in the country they shouldn't even be in. This is where we are in America in September 2014. And you can thank, and I hope you thank the right way, you can thank the miserable, deceitful, communist mainstream media filled with perfidious people who want this country to end, who want the glorious America, the fantastic United States, to no longer be, who want this big conglomeration of nightmare where we join North America, Canada, Central America, South America, India, Pakistan, the Balkans. Everybody comes to America, and the American citizens get to pay for the destruction of their own country. It is, as I said last week, Cloward Piven at its best. Another book you need to read. This is what is going on in our beautiful, glorious America. You have a chance to stop it. Going back to the beginning of my show, get off your fat butt and go and vote! Or else. This is Holly Meredith getting ready to close my show. You won't like the or else. Hello,
Hello and welcome to New York Nails and Skin Salon, located on beautiful Linton Boulevard in downtown Delray Beach. This salon is open 7 days a week. Yes, 7 days. If you need the finest skincare and the finest manicures and pedicures that you can get, you want to call Linda at 561-274-7470. I want to say it to you one more time, 7 days a week. The finest skincare and nail care that you can get. Give her a call. Once again, it's New York Nails and the number is 561-274-7470.
Hi, I'm Maria of My Clean Home Services. Been in business for 5 years now. I specialize in residential and I also do commercial. If you need any references, I can provide that for you upon request. You can give me a call at 954-520-4282 if you have any questions. Thank you and have a wonderful day.